Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so glad that you are here. Today is Monday, March 9th, 2026, and we are here this afternoon in the Commissioners' Conference Room at our Larimer County Administrative Services Building for a work session with our Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources. And we have several folks on our agenda today. And I just wanted to, I won't introduce them all, but I'll introduce myself and my colleagues, and then our director. I'm Larimer County Commissioner Jody Shad McNally, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners. I'm joined at the table by fellow commissioners, Commissioner Kristen Stevens and Commissioner Kafalis. Also, we have our Larimer County Manager here, Lorinda Volker. Thank you, Lorinda. And our Assistant County Manager is over there to my left. Not at the table, but I wanted to recognize her. And now I'm going to introduce our CPIRs, which is Community Planning Infrastructure Resources Director, Leslie Ellis, and I'll let her introduce all of our amazing guests who have been for decades doing amazing work here at Larimer County. Thanks, Leslie.
Okay, good. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you. Leslie Ellis, Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources. And I'll kick things off, but quickly hand it over. Today, most of our focus is natural resources. We have two topics, one of which I'm excited you'll hear shortly, but welcome to Kelly, who's our newest member of the land stewardship team. And then we'll talk more about the land stewardship nomination process with the State Land Board too, which is a bit of a precursor to a conversation that we're having later this week in the Livermore community too. And then Rebecca and I both have a few updates as well. So I'll pass it to you, right, to do the introduction. Is that what we decided, or you, Dalen? Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Dalen Figgs, Director for Natural Resources. And so as Leslie described, we have two general categories of topics today. One is the State Land Board nominations we want to do, one for Stewardship Trust. We're bringing it forward now as there's a letter of support we'll seek through admin manners. I think it's either tomorrow or next week on consent. So just wanted to make that aware of so you'll know what it is. The second series of nominations tie back to a legislative bill, 1332, that was passed, I believe, last year that is looking at ways to expand the State Land Board parcels for more recreational access. And they're seeking parcels to be identified for inclusion in that. And so we have another list of parcels we just wanted to bring to your attention. We're not quite sure what the process for that is. There may be a letter of recommendation we seek in the future. We're just not sure yet, but I definitely wanted to make you aware of that as well. Certainly happy to answer any questions you may have on those parcels. Most importantly today, I wanted to introduce our new land stewardship manager, Kelly, and Kelly's going to take a few minutes to talk a little bit about herself. She's an absolutely exceptional employee to have and experience, and really happy she's joined our team. And I think when she describes her experience, you're gonna understand why that is. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kelly.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Dalen. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Kelly Pruitt, and the new land stewardship manager. I think I started 6 weeks ago. Very, very, very new. I have been involved in open space management for 29 years. However long I've lived in Colorado, it feels like a very long time. But I've had a variety of positions. My first position was the Adams County land manager years and years ago. And so that was a great way to kick off my career in land management. I worked for the State Department of Agriculture as the State Week coordinator, and then moving over to Denver Parks and Mountain Parks as their natural areas coordinator as well. Prior to Larimer County, Megan got me from City of Boulder Open Space and Mountain Parks, which was a wonderful organization to work for, a wonderful agency, but I just could not refuse the offer to come work for Larimer County and work with Megan and Dalen. So yes, I've been around the block a few times, and I'm very excited at this new opportunity to work with everybody here. It should be really great. And thank you for this opportunity to meet with you as well.
Colleagues, we'll see if we have any questions for Kelly. Dalen, first, thank you for introducing Kelly, and also thank you and Leslie, because, you brought her on. So thank you. Welcome, Kelly. We're glad to have you. I'll see if Commissioner Stevens has any questions or comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just welcome, Kelly. It's really nice to have you. Appreciate people who've been around the block a little bit. That means your experience, and we're happy to have it. It sounds like you have a ton of experience, and really speaks to our program that you were excited to come to Larimer. So yeah, we can't wait to work with you, and welcome, and let us know if you need anything from us. But yeah, we do appreciate your experience. That's really important. And
Great.
we, as you know, we have really great spaces here, and it's a beautiful place. And so, not that Boulder and Adams and the other places that you were in weren't, but we're pretty fond of our little corner of the world, and so we're happy to have you here.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. I appreciate it. I did have a chance to tour some of the properties, and wow, gorgeous, gorgeous lands that we manage. It's been great.
I won't argue with you. Yes, I agree. Commissioner Kafalis, do you have some comments or questions?
Yes, I have a comment. Of course, welcome.
you.
Look forward to working together as a team. And just some preliminary positive feedback. One of your senior land stewardship technician, Maxine, was present at the Wellington Community Conversation last Thursday, and I thought she did an excellent job of providing an overview of the services that we offer through the Weed District and answering questions. So I wanted to give you that positive feedback.
Great, thank you. I will be sure to pass it on, Commissioner.
Thank you for introducing yourself. Yes, I actually Googled you, LinkedIn, all those things. I'm one of those. I won't use the word stalk. I just like to do my homework. But I know people stalk me because I have it all set up, so I get all the alerts now. But I wanted to just say, in this land stewardship and conservation business, people with long history and understand kind of the context. As people at the table know, it's so important to have folks who maybe see it from all different angles and perspectives, but also mentoring and bringing up we need the next generation of land stewards. And we're talking about that 2 of my meetings today. I've had 5 Zooms today now. So I just wanted to say welcome. And yes, I agree. I live out in corporate areas. I'm, very close. I mean, less than a mile from Devil's Backbone and on the way up to Carter Lake and Pinewood and all those things. So I probably should visit them more than I do, but I do get up there several times, and you'll find out I'm known as the dog poop bag lady because I pick up everyone's bags and bring them back to the trailhead. I know you're all laughing, but I haven't told you all the things I've been doing, picking up trash on the trail. But I just wanted to say we're really glad to have you joining a fantastic team, and I know that obviously with them bringing you on and being here today, they're very excited to have you as well. Welcome to Larimer team. It's really, when we talk about Larimer County, the secret sauce is our amazing employees. So welcome. We're really glad to have you.
Great, thank you so much. I did want to add something really quickly, and I don't mean to brag, but I guess I'm going to brag. I was awarded last week Outstanding Weed Manager of the Year award through the Western Society of Weed Science. It's largely an academic association comprised of universities throughout the western U.S., along with local land managers as well. So that was a really nice honor to have, and I'm pretty proud of myself there.
That's amazing. Well, we can discuss the myrtle splurge that I'm still eradicating off my property sometime.
Perfect.
That's always fun. So, Larimer, would you like to say anything?
I'll just say, great team. Obviously, you've been here 6 weeks. You've had a chance to see who you get to work with. Conservation and land stewardship is really important to our community, like it is to others, and it's a regional approach. So having you come from other communities, I think, brings strength to our program as well. And noxious weeds are not the kind of thing most people want to talk about, but the education about them is really important because sometimes they can look really beautiful and really destroy the landscape. So you have a reputation of being good at that, being an engaging person who is approachable and approaches people in the same way. So we're excited to have you on the team.
Great.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Well, Megan, Leslie's giving me hand signals that you're up next.
All right, thank you. Well, as Dalen mentioned, we wanted to give you a little bit of background on the State Land Board's Stewardship Trust nomination process and a little bit on what we understand as the new House bill submission process and the parcels that we're looking to share with you that we'd like to nominate to both of these opportunities. Let's see.
Having technical difficulties.
Oh, there we go. Okay. I think we've shared in the past, the Stewardship Trust is a designation within the State Land Board. It was established I believe, in the 70s, where a maximum of 10%, which is about 300,000 acres, of parcels owned by the State Land Board statewide can be in the Stewardship Trust program at any one time. And generally, it's not a permanent formal protection like a conservation easement, but it's the strongest protection that the State Land Board does within their system. It really protects the parcels from land use change, because they're evaluated relative to the reason they were nominated to the trust, which is usually primarily ecological or cultural values. It also affords those parcels a little bit more management oversight. So if there can be other leases on the properties at the same time, primarily that's grazing or maybe some sort of hunting or recreation lease, but really ensuring that those activities are in alignment with those ecological or cultural values that it's being protected around. Within Larimer County, there are already 8 State Land Board parcels in the Stewardship Trust, and I'll show you a map of some of those in a minute. And so we have nominated, the next section around status is really around some that are pending. So there's 8 currently in the trust. We've nominated the 3 that say pending designation in yellow. In the last few years, you all wrote letters of support for those. The first area is in our Open Lands Master Plan conservation area, the Blue Mountain Conservation Area, which includes Canyon Edge and Blue Mountain Bison Ranch, Chimney Hollow. There's 2 parcels down there, Bear Track, which is the parcel immediately adjacent to the west of Canyon Edge open space. We nominated that in 2024. And then a parcel called the Carter Lake parcel. It's actually adjacent and in the Chimney Hollow Valley. And that one has been pending designation since the trust formed, and they've not selected it. And we don't believe that they will. They've kind of gone a different direction with that parcel. In the Laramie Foothills area, we nominated the Sheep Mountain parcel back in 2024 as well. This one is situated west of Red Mountain open space, kind of an inholding within Maxwell Ranch. And we've done some conservation easements up there that fully now surround that property with protected land. And then the last 3 are those that we want to share with you today that we are wanting to nominate into the program this year. They're all up in the Laramie Foothills area. One is Steinhoff Hill. Steinhoff Hill is surrounded by the conservation easements we worked on last year, primarily on the Quarter Circle, Lazy H, Lone Pine ranches. Livermore Mountain is also adjacent to those same conservation easements. It also includes a large part of Livermore Mountain, that characteristic feature of the Livermore Valley. And then Dale Creek, which is a little bit north and west of those. And then simultaneous with this, in 2025, House Bill 1332 was passed. And that bill called for convening a working group. I believe there's about 25 members on the statewide working group that are studying how state land boards can advance either public access, conservation, improve stewardship activities, even beyond the Stewardship Trust. They've been working for about 8 months and recently submitted a request through county commissioners, I think through CCI, and through different regional partnerships. We're part of the NOCO 2050 partnership, asking for identification of key parcels for this working group to consider around those types of outcomes: conservation, low conflict resolution, or recreation. So we are planning to submit 6 parcels, the same 3 that we're nominating to the trust, but also the three we've previously nominated. So the Bear Track, the Carter Lake, and Sheep Mountain parcels.
Megan, can I stop?
Yeah.
Just for a moment,
Yeah.
unless I don't see any other hands, but could you go back to that slide? Since I've been in weekly conversations about another discussion with the state on low recreation and how this impacts counties, when you're talking about NOCO 2050, there's several counties and it's got the federal and regional partnerships so critical. When you're talking about the stewardship and the low conflict recreation, I know this is I shouldn't say I know, this has come up a lot in other conversations at CCI and other groups, and we have some, I think, legislation that's out there from CCI about how do you help, especially smaller counties, with the wear and tear on county roads, getting to some of those parcels, and how do you help those counties that may be struggling with financial resources to help maintain or keep up with the recreation increases, even if it's low conflict, it's still got an impact of people traveling on those roads and things, and it brings a cost or maybe an opportunity to partner on helping maintain some of those things. Is that part of the conversation? That's my question. Sorry to throw you that curveball, but I just know this is probably going to come up with this, and I would love to share others that this conversation is maybe happening or is, or just curious.
Thank you, Commissioner. It's a great question. In discussions we've had at NOCO on this topic, it did not come up. And I think one difference is the parcels being nominated are kind of nominated by the county itself, and whether they take into account road traffic and wear and tear on roads, I don't know. So it's kind of an optional nomination. It's not a mandatory thing. So, but I think you're right. For smaller counties, it may not have the staff resources to be able to do it. It may not have the financial resources to have increased road maintenance. That is something that will need to be considered, certainly as these parcels come online for added recreation. And I think the other piece is, at least for the parcels we've nominated, they tend to not be in areas where recreational access is already occurring, and they're kind of tied in holdings that we have. So as it increases, I don't think it would increase substantially because of just the kind of how it sets in the landscape relative to other parcels. So it's a great question, and I think one the state has to deal with.
Thank you. And you're talking about that last comment was our county, not like maybe Clear Creek or Gilpin,
Exactly.
the ones that have people come off I-70, but you're talking about our county.
Yeah.
Okay.
For those in our county, yeah. For Clear Creek and Gilpin, I'm not sure how they're going to address that issue.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. Good. Thank you. Appreciate that time.
Yeah, great. So just to kind of give you a sense of where these properties are, and apologies for the darker resolution on the screen, but the parcels that are in the turquoise green, labeled as Stewardship Trust, those are all, anything in that color is a state land board parcel. Those that have a label on it are either already in the Stewardship Trust, they're one of the 8 that exist in the county already, or for example, the parcel along 287, and this is up in the Livermore area. So you can see Highway 287 labeled just near Eagle's Nest at the south end of the map. The Forks Restaurant is right there. As you go north up 287, one's labeled the Prebbles Bank State Land Board parcel. That's a tabletop mitigation bank for Prebbles, and that one is conserved through that process. And then the one closest to the Forks, to the east of the Forks, is the Pinion Grove Stewardship Trust and State Natural Area parcel. So that one is partially conserved through that effort. The one in yellow at the top of the map is Sheep Mountain State Land Board parcel. It's one we've already nominated to the Stewardship Trust. And then the 3 that are shown in red, the one starting from the north, that's Dale Creek. And you can see its position adjacent to conservation easements are in the brown shade on the map. So that's Roberts Ranch and some other conservation easements some of our partners have done. It has pretty outstanding ecological values. It includes Larimer aletes, which is one of the rarest plants in Larimer County. It also includes a large portion of Dale Creek, which is perennial and flows into the North Fork of the Poudre River. As you come south, the skinnier rectangular piece is the Steinhoff Hills parcel, and you can see its position surrounded by the conservation easements we completed last year here in Larimer County. And then the third, Livermore Mountain, is the one at the bottom of the map, and that one not only buffers those same conservation easements, but it also abuts Cherokee Park State Wildlife Area. Both those southern parcels are part of Colorado Natural Heritage Program potential conservation area sites. They include areas of high biodiversity significance. They also are both migration corridors for elk and mule deer, and include a lot of really intact, nice, and very visually prominent plant communities and rock outcrops. And then this is the southern end of the county. You can see Carter Lake at the bottom of the map for reference. And directly to the west of Carter Lake is that Carter Lake Chimney Hollow State Land Board parcel that we have nominated in the past. And it's currently used for, they do have a hunting lease and a couple separate recreation leases on it with private individuals. But it does, as you can see, buffer Chimney Hollow open space. It has a lot of connectivity in that area. And this one we're planning to nominate to that House Bill 1332, really just to put some attention on how it's being managed around recreation and some of that low conflict relative to what we're proposing to do at Chimney Hollow open space. And then directly north of that is the Bear Track State Land Board parcel, west of, it's labeled Blue Mountain property on here, but that's Canyon Edge open space. And then the parcel that's already in the trust there is adjacent to, just west of Chimney Hollow, is adjacent to the Blue Mountain Bison Ranch Conservation Easement, Ramsey Shockey Open Space, and Pinewood Reservoir. And that's one our department actually nominated, or the Larimer County nominated back in around 2000, and is already in the Stewardship Trust. So just in summary and for next steps, again, we currently have 3 parcels in the queue for Stewardship Trust designation. We would like to go ahead and submit the remaining 3 I mentioned earlier into the trust, those 3 being up in the Livermore area, Steinhoff Hills, Livermore Mountain, and Dale Creek. As Dalen mentioned, it may be a few weeks, but we hope to get a letter of support for certain for the nominations. And if we do need them for the House bill submissions, we'll put them through consent as well for those. And we do plan to submit those 3 to the Stewardship Trust probably in early April. We're just doing some final work with the State Land Board to get those nominations ready. And then the House Bill 1332 submissions are due by March 25th. And there's an online form. We've already prepared those nominations as well. And we are hoping to submit all 6 of these parcels to that program this week, ideally. So, and just hoping to answer any questions you have, or any input you have about those specific nominations, or the parcel specifically.
Thank you, Megan, and thanks for all those updates and the maps, especially. Commissioner Foster, any comments or questions?
Yes, a comment and a question. I'll start with the question. How does the Stewardship Trust designation interact with access to mineral rights?
So it doesn't preclude the State Land Board from doing any sort of leasing, which could be mineral leases.
Sand and gravel.
It could be anything. But they do look at, if someone came to propose a sand and gravel lease on a parcel that was in the trust, they would look at that impact relative to the resources that it was nominated to protect. In the case of all these parcels, most of what gives them that significance are rare plant communities, wildlife habitat, movement corridors for wildlife. So it probably, it would be a factor they would consider, and likely not allow if it's in the trust.
Thank you. And my comment is just gratitude. This is very interesting. I didn't realize we had 8 State Land Board parcels in the county. that some were already had received this designation. I guess I didn't know that or I had forgotten that. So well done, great work. I'm glad we were able to come up with a different approach to the matter of Steinhoff Hill.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, I don't have any questions, just appreciate you bringing this forward. Great to know about those spaces. Looks like the timeline, sometimes it takes them a while to figure out what they want to do with things. So, but definitely supportive and happy to, write a letter or whatever you need as support to move this forward.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, of course, we're always willing to write letters of support and get some things done. And I have some letters, thanks for the reminder, Commissioner Stevens. I got a couple letters I got to get out this week for other things that are asking for help through the state. I know you always have these on the maps, and you share this anytime, with the Natural Resources Advisory Board, that we look at all the different parcels and how they interact. And I think that's really important to show how they all interact and the different levels of protection. I think that's very important and to understand, especially for landowners in the area and folks. And so I appreciate you going through that today and appreciate that you can pretty much almost do this every time we have a discussion. So I appreciate that as well. And I think it, again, shows and showcases the strong partnerships that you all have built, nurtured, grown, developed, take care of, and how important those are. So thank you very much for that. And really excited to hear about the 3 additional parcels and let us know how we can support that. I don't know if there's sometimes, do they have this, that the one also they have the hearings that we could show up and make a comment, public comment or something. So let us know about that too, if that's helpful at all. And other than that, just well done and thank you. And good to hear, you could come with a good news day. This is awesome. So Commissioner Kafalis.
Yes, I have another question actually. And I'm wondering, as I understand the particular process before us regarding the Steinhoff Hill property, initially the communication was not as ideal as it should have been between various county departments. So my question related to that is, what are lessons learned? How will we improve upon that so we don't have this, what I understood to be a little bit of lack of communication? Leslie gets that one.
Yep. Yes, you're correct. We probably did not coordinate as closely as we should have. I think we were coordinating at a higher level and less at a detailed level, and so we've certainly improved, and our natural resources teams and our road and bridge teams are now working together to identify particular sites and put them through an analysis process and make sure that we're unified in our approach going forward. So I don't think we'll see, I think you will see very solid coordination going forward. On that topic also, Todd and his team will come, we're currently scheduled for April 13th, it may be April 6th, to come and talk about aggregate resources and the approach that we're taking in the county to look at those parcels and how that will play out too. So certainly, I own the fact that we didn't coordinate as well as we should have, but I think we now have a process to make sure that we're united and on the same page going forward around that. So.
Thank you for answering my question, Leslie. And I was quite confident that we have learned from lessons learned and how we can improve the process. Thank you very much.
Leslie, thank you so much. Like I said, I'll repeat this again. Just welcome to the team. Just amazing and a great team. I would say, maybe I'm a little biased, but I think it's one of the best teams in the state, if not the best team in the state, led by a fantastic leader. So I just wanted to say that publicly. So welcome aboard. I'm assuming we're moving on to another, or was this all the things, unless we have other questions?
Yeah.
Let you guys.
We're ready for Rebecca's update on community development.
Thank you all. Thank you, thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Rebecca Everett, Community Development Director. I just have really one update for you today, and it's just a heads up about something on your Admin Matters agenda for tomorrow. So I believe we've updated you all that we received some additional funding through the Strong Communities Grant Program from the Department of Local Affairs to supplement the projects that we're working on using that funding, the development of a transfer of development rights program and our housing needs assessment. We did receive notice that the state was going to award us an additional $15,000. However, in order to amend our grant agreement, the state needs an official request from the Board of County Commissioners for that money. So there's a letter in your packet that reads as if we are requesting supplemental funding from the state. We have already received a letter of award for that funding. So we just didn't want that to catch you off guard or cause you to wonder if there was an additional request out there. So this is a procedural step that we need to complete in order to fully secure that funding and add it on to the project.
Thank you, Rebecca, and I do think that was end of February, right? And they contacted all of our state legislators as too, I think all of us. So thank you for that, and thanks for explaining that. Colleagues, do you have any further questions of Rebecca? Commissioner Kapfalos.
Yeah, thank you for the heads up and all of that. I'm not sure if you're done with your report, but I was curious regarding March 23rd. In the calendar, it shows afternoon and evening land use hearings. I'm curious if you can provide a little bit of information about how extensive they'll be. And there is a reason for why I'm asking, but my first priority, of course, is to be at those hearings.
Yes, let me double check on the 3 o'clock hearing that day, how many items we have. Yes, we have a full agenda on the 3 o'clock with several items on consent.
Okay.
And it looks like one short-term rental that will potentially be on discussion, with the majority of the agenda being on consent. The 6:30 hearing that day will be the continued hearing of the Aragon Holdings septic appeal. So we will be holding a 6:30 p.m. hearing that night, and it will be the continuation of the hearing that was tabled on that several months ago. Yes.
Thanks, Rebecca. I think you have some more items, or is that it?
Well, I'll just provide one more quick update. In 2 weeks at this work session, we have on the schedule that Aaliyah Rodriguez and I will be coming to you to talk about options for allocating the $50,000 in incentive funding that we received through the Proposition 123 program. And this was a result of the county adopting an expedited process for affordable housing projects by the December 31st deadline of last year. So we have access to $50,000 in incentive funding, and we need to designate a purpose for those funds in order to fully receive those. And so Aaliyah and I have been working together to identify some options for consideration, and we'll bring those in a couple weeks for you all to provide some direction on. And that's it for my updates today. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Rebecca. Leslie, you're up next. We might,
Yeah.
it looks like it's going to be a quick day. but
Oh, yeah.
Started with
And-
some great new news. So thanks for starting off Monday that way for us.
Yeah, so that's a good segue because I was going to talk about what's ahead on work sessions for our Monday afternoon work sessions. So we do not have one next week. We'll give you and everybody else a break since it's a heavy spring break time right now. And then, as Rebecca mentioned, she'll be back on the 23rd. And you're also doing wildfire resiliency codes then as well, right?
So the second item that we'll be presenting on March 23rd is an explanation of some items that you'll see on your admin matters agenda that same week that are intergovernmental agreements with various fire districts for full implementation of enforcement of certain sections of the wildfire resiliency code that relate to building code rather than fire code. So we've been working on agreements with the various fire districts to come up with the most efficient way to implement that code, and have several cooperative agreements that you'll be seeing soon, and we'll explain more on the 23rd.
Okay. And then we're scheduled.
I have a quick question. I was just
ahead.
waiting to see if my colleagues, of
Yes.
course, since I've been involved with Wade Code since the beginning, I was trying to be quiet on how, because I know how there are jurisdictions that are counties are struggling with this. I'm very curious about your approach to bring the fire districts on, especially that with some of the concerns from other counties. And I know we're going to bring this forward, but overall, let me just carefully word this. Overall, how has this change been met? Has it been met with collaboration, or has it brought some new ideas or perspectives for us to consider? Or maybe both?
Both, for sure. Certainly in our work, we have well-established positive relationships with our various fire districts, and in particular, Loveland and Pruitt Fire. And that, building off of that foundation of partnership, there has been some back and forth to figure out the right roles and responsibilities with a new code, but it's been a very collaborative, positive partnership. In terms of impacts to our customers and the change in the codes, the code does not differ significantly from what Larimer County already had in place for certain items. There are new requirements for siting and defensible space. We have not seen significant concern or resistance to those code changes. I think there's a strong recognition out in the rural areas in particular that this is in everyone's interest to prevent wildfire. And so I'd say both for our partnerships with the fire districts and with our customers, we haven't been hearing much concern at this point.
Maybe a question just for when we do talk about this, maybe because you may not have that data when we come forward, is do those a lot of those fire departments are volunteer and rely on generous donations, and we have almost 3.5 paid full districts, fire districts. The rest, over 10 of them, are volunteer. I'm just curious if they had any concerns about extra funding needs because of this, and maybe not to answer today, but I would love to understand those when we meet next about what that might be, or if there is, or how we can think ahead and support those groups going forward. So.
Yes, we can bring more information on that. It will be Amy White, our co-compliance supervisor, and Mike Williams, our building official, who will present those items. And the intent behind forming agreements related to implementation of the Wildfire Resiliency Code is to create some clarity and for the county to help fill some gaps as it relates to actually implementing this code and support some of those districts that may not have the capacity to do it.
Music to my ears. I was hoping you say that. And thank you too. And the reason I waved is because Amy White walked in the room as we were talking about her. You must have felt the vibe to come see her. I'm teasing. Thank you, Rebecca, and just really great work, great progress. I really appreciate the collaboration and partnerships that you have probably nurtured or strengthened with this process. Thank you very much. Mr. Stevens, did you have, I just saw you look at me. Okay, great.
Okay.
Next item.
Yep, so that'll be to look forward to on March 23rd. We do have a ranch master plan update at the end of the month on March 30th. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we'll have a road and bridge aggregate resources discussion either on the 6th or the 13th. We're still coordinating the timing on that, but we'll be sure to get the word out in advance so folks who are interested can follow that. I also wanted to mention that for folks who watched the work session on January 21st, where we had the state forestry staff here, Dan McCombs, the executive director, and Matt McCombs, and Dan West, who were here to talk about the pine beetle and the future of forests. They also are in Fort Collins this week, talking at Avogadro's number. Josh Roberts shared that out, so if folks are interested, that's on March 11th at 6:30 p.m. And then they're also going up to Red Feather Lakes to have a community conversation. They were in Estes as well, so they're making their rounds to get the word out. And for folks who missed that conversation or want to watch it, that was also recorded on January 21st. So there's some good information, I think, making its way around the community around the pine beetle issue and how to address that. We do have a community meeting in Livermore this week at the community hall at 6 p.m. until 7:30, primarily to discuss the focus on the Steinhoff Hill parcel and the stewardship trust designation that you heard earlier from Megan, and to discuss other topics of interest in the community for the commissioners who attend. And moving along, there's also a Front Range Passenger Rail Town Hall meeting later this month in Fort Collins at the Fort Collins City Chambers at 5 p.m. Commissioner Stevens may know more about that. I know you've been invited to join that, and I think they're still working on the details of the event, but to discuss locating the rail station in Fort Collins area. Please just jump in if you have questions about anything. I'll keep rattling through my list.
Commissioner Kafal, she had a question?
I didn't hear the Front Range Passenger Rail presentation. When is that?
It is March 30th in the evening at 5 p.m. in the Fort Collins City Council chambers. I know they're still finalizing details on the event, so we have a few weeks, but we'll keep you posted as that gets fleshed out with the final details.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie.
Yes. Oh, we also have several staff. They're forming a stakeholder group that's more at the technical staff level, and so Rebecca and Nicole Hahn are joining that, and that's later this week too. So just to have a bit more engagement at the technical level as well.
Commissioner Stevens, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I thought the meeting was at 5:30 on the 30th, so maybe I think it's still being sort of worked
Yes.
out, so we'll have more details about that. I'll be
That
speaking
being one of the details.
at that meeting, and then I probably will just kind of listen in on the stakeholder group on Thursday, just because,
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm the chair of the MPO now,
Yes.
and it's probably good information for me to have, so. But yeah, I look forward to that meeting and hearing from Front Range Passenger Rail around station location and some of the things. We're getting closer to Front Range
Right.
Passenger Rail, and that's exciting, so,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Commissioner Stevens. Okay, Leslie?
Okay, and then last but not least, April 22nd is Earth Day. Visit Estes Park is working on hosting a Dark Skies workshop with Michael Larimer, who's the community program manager from Dark Sky International, and there's a lot of details yet to be worked out. Commissioner Shattuck McNally and the town of Estes have been in conversations around understanding what would be required for the boundary of the town to be expanded to include the Estes Valley to comply with the dark sky standards. And I've been following along with that to scope to understand, is our effort small or big? What would it take? And what we're finding so far is that the county, Larimer County, is substantially in compliance with the ordinance and the code, as well as the facility requirements. We do have to do an educational piece, and there's some other things, but we're still scoping. Is there much work on our part? It doesn't seem that that's the case, other than an education component, but that if the town or Visit Estes were to lead that component, then our piece would not be as significant. So I just wanted to let you know that we're scoping it, and we recognize that if it's an effort that would be much larger, then we would work it into a future work plan item. And so we'll keep you posted on that as well. And Commissioner Shattuck McNally, you may have other information about that effort, but we'll keep everyone up to date on details around the workshop too, that at this point is likely to be a technical portion of it for staff level, and then potentially a portion of it that's more for public and policy and elected official level as well that day.
Yeah, thank you, Leslie. Being on the Visit Estes Park Board, I didn't realize, because it hadn't been communicated, because there was other priorities for Visit Estes Park, as we all know, for the last year. And the OEDIT had a Office of Economic Tourism and International Tourism, and all of them had offered pre-classes that some of the staff members had gone to, and so they had been advancing this, but when it seemed like the work's already done and the dots are connecting, and Visit Estes Park and Estes have pretty much offered for us just to copy and steal their education program, and we already are doing some of that with our Department of Natural Resources with their they do some night sky or dark, some stargazing programming, so that helped. And so this opportunity came up, and this gentleman, Michael's offered to do this for free, I'm assuming, because this is part of his initiative, I think, or something low cost. So I'm not sure what it costs, but it seems like it's going to be pretty low for us to do. And I know it's already on the work plan for next year to work on the educational piece anyway, so this might make it a really light lift. But Mayor Hall and I are going to be hosting that, and I believe we're almost done with finding the spot. But then at the end of that workshop, we're going to host a community conversation for the public, which would also go towards the public education piece to help folks understand what's happening, what's this going, because it's something that I didn't, like I said, I'd been going to the Visit Estes Park meetings, I didn't know this was happening, so now we're kind of, it looks like it's going to be an easy thing to partner, so I'm looking forward to that. So and we're certainly interesting to read and try to understand the code. And there's, Breckenridge has just done it, Westcliff, there's all these other communities that are popping up daily that are earning this designation, and it's kind of exciting to know that maybe we were closer than we thought. So thanks. Any questions?
Thank you. And I have no further updates
All right.
this afternoon.
Well, wonderful. We'll give back the gift of time. Thank you all for the presentation and time and updates and bringing some good news to start the week. So at 2:17, we are adjourned. Thank you for joining us.